They could have taken that Cherokee village and moved it to South America or somewhere else.
Sharon, we're going to take a quick break and come back and chat more and take phone calls with you next. The lines are open.
Find out more about tonight's guest. Log on to coasttocoastam.com.
Say handle your report. Okay, just to let you know, I agree with that. Right, so you don't have to bother. Bill, handle. Don't waste your time. Mornings from 6 to 10 on KFI.
Your electric bill keeps going up. The cost of solar has gone way down. It's time to go solar with local veteran-owned Semper Solaris now and get all the benefits. Here's veteran, founder, and owner Kelly Shawhan.
In the military, when you give your word, it just is your word. Work hard and keep your word. That's what we do every single day. I've heard about Semper Solaris and found out that they were veterans. I knew they were going to do the job right.
Add Tesla Powerwall and be ready for blackout. We get the job done with esprit de corps and honor. Semper Solaris offers new heating and air conditioning systems with a lifetime warranty and new roofs with a 50-year warranty. We hire vets and give back to the community with our Semper Cares initiative. Go solar American style with Semper Solaris. 0 down, 0 interest, and 0 payments until 2023. Get the federal 26% solar and battery tax credit. Call 877-211-5590 or visit sempersolaris.com.
6% federal tax credit based on eligible income. Consult your tax advisor. Cannot be combined with any other offers. New customers only. Some restrictions apply. Call or see website for details. Expires 1/31/2022.
The thought of a fresh start. Well, if you're sick of struggling financially or you got some bad debt dragging you down, Oak Tree Law can help.
There's a healthcare worker in Murrieta had $99,000 in credit card debt and her wages were being garnished. Oak Tree Law was able to erase 100% of the debt and remove the wage garnishment entirely.
Here's another one. A father in Pasadena fell $48,000 behind on his mortgage. The bank issued a sale date on his home. Oak Tree Law stepped in and immediately set the sale date and got a modification with a lower interest and payment.
A restaurant owner from West Covina had a $250,000 lien placed on his house. Oak Tree Law was able to get the lien stripped off the property and eliminate $486,000 in credit card and business debt.
Real stories, real people. So no matter your situation, no matter what kind of debt you have, if you need help and you're tired of stressing, call Oak Tree Law right now.
Call 800-542-2949. 800-542-2949. Start 2022 with a clean slate.
Call 800-542-2949. 800-542-2949.
KFI now looks forward to the year ahead. Future predictions for the year 2022. The country will no longer be divided into two factions.
Star Wars fans and Star Trek fans.
And the entire world will vote to no longer have a new year.
And it will remain 2022. Forever.
KFI and KOST HD2, Los Angeles, Orange County. It's time for your morning wake-up call. And now, here's Jennifer Jones-Lee.
Good morning, and welcome to a very busy Tuesday. We've got more winds on the way this afternoon, so just a heads up, if you have things that you already haven't fixed from the last windstorm that we had over the weekend, you better run out there and, shore some things up right now, because we've got more winds on the way starting this afternoon. This is your wake-up call, and we've got breaking news from Pfizer and BioNTech have launched a clinical trial to evaluate a vaccine that targets the COVID-19 Omicron variant. A proposed bill in California would require students to get vaccinated against COVID-19 by the start of next year. And the Pentagon has placed as many as 8,500 U.S. troops on heightened alert because of the threat of a Russian invasion of Ukraine. And we'll talk more about that at 5:05 with ABC's Connor Finnegan. What exactly does Russian President Putin want with Ukraine or from Ukraine? And can the U.S. and its allies actually prevent an invasion? We'll talk about that with Connor in just a few minutes. But let's start with some of these stories coming out of the KFI 24-hour newsroom. Pfizer and BioNTech have launched a clinical trial to evaluate a vaccine that targets the COVID-19 Omicron variant. There's growing concern that the current vaccines are not holding up against the strain of COVID discovered just 2 months ago. The CDC published a study last week that says protection from current booster shots taper off after just 10 weeks. The CDC has also added 5 popular Caribbean destinations to its list of COVID-19 risk places. The Dominican Republic, Guadalupe, Jamaica, St. Bartholomew, and St. Martin were added yesterday to the CDC's list of 4. Haiti was already at level 4. Certain face masks aren't going to cut it anymore for students in the LA school district.
The district is now requiring that all students wear non-cloth masks that fit well and have a nose wire on campus. Dr. Lynn Silver with the California-based Public Health Institute says the rule makes sense. She says wearing masks are a key part in not catching the virus.
With Omicron, which is so much more infectious, good quality masks also make a difference.
The district has also pushed out COVID-19 testing for all students, vaccinated or not, through February. Blake Trolley, KFI News.
A proposed bill in California would require students to get vaccinated against COVID by the start of next year. Governor Newsom's current vaccine mandate for students has a personal belief exemption, but State Senator Dr. Richard Pan says the bill has the power to remove it.
Vaccination is the cornerstone of ensuring our schools will be open and will be safe.
The vaccine requirement would apply to students at public and private schools. Investigators with the Inglewood Police Department are looking for surveillance video that may help them find whoever shot and killed 4 people at a birthday party.
The investigators have been doing a grid search, going from house to house in an area around the 1300 block of Park Avenue. Around 1:43 Sunday morning, LA County firefighters say they arrived to find 5 people shot. 3 died on the scene, 1 died on the way to the hospital, and 1 remains in critical condition. Mayor James Butts says the injured man admitted to an affiliation with a gang from another city, and the shooting was a targeted gang hit. Brianna Steins was celebrating her 20th birthday at the party along with her 25-year-old sister, Marnisha Hamilton. Both men who died were 21. Steve Gregory, KFI News.
The LA City Council and the LA County Board of Supervisors are expected to approve $60,000 in reward money to help find the person who shot and killed a 16-year-old girl. The body of Tioni Theus was found dumped along the side of the Harbor Freeway in South LA January 8th. Activists are angered that the death of the black girl has attracted less attention than the fatal stabbing of 24-year-old white female grad student in Hancock Park last week. A $250,000 reward was raised last week to help find her killer, and an arrest was made later. A supervisor in Orange County has called for the state to allow stiffer penalties for dealers selling the deadly street drug fentanyl.
The drug is lethal in tiny amounts. Supervisor Don Wagner says from 2017 to 2020, deputies grabbed about 88 million lethal doses of fentanyl off the street.
We've seen over the course of the last several years up in Sacramento an effort towards decriminalizing or an effort towards reducing punishments for various crimes. And that's a trend that needs to stop.
Wagner says prosecutors are already warning dealers can be charged with murder for an overdose. He says a resolution being considered by the board today calls for the state to back those stiffer penalties and for more funding to fight the drug. In Orange County, Corbin Carson, KFI News.
And as I mentioned earlier, 8,500 U.S. troops have been placed on heightened alert because of the threat of a Russian invasion of Ukraine. A Pentagon spokesman says the bulk of those are ready to help NATO's quick response force. President Biden held an 80-minute secure video call with European leaders yesterday to talk about the situation with Russia and Ukraine. We're going to get into that coming up right after traffic with Connor Finnegan. Speaking of traffic, hello, Nick Paliocchini, what's up?
Good morning, Jen. It's actually pretty quiet to start things out for your morning drive, so taking a look at some of the drive times as you're making your way in and around the Southland to start things down for you this morning. Westbound side of the 91 as you're coming out of downtown Riverside, continuing through Anaheim and Fullerton to the 5. Going to take you about 36 to 42 minutes overall for your drive. Also 57 southbound getting out of Diamond Bar as you come off the 60. Heading to Orange County into the Orange Crush for the 5, 57 and 22 coming together. Looks like that's going to be 14 to 16 minutes for your drive. And as you're making your way southbound along the 405 through the San Fernando Valley, out of Mission Hills off the 118 through West LA toward the 10, just about 15 to 17 minutes for you there. KFI in the Sky helps get you there faster. I'm Nick Paliocchini.
5:06 on your wake-up call. Connor Finnegan, good morning. So let's talk about now already. I just mentioned that the Pentagon has said that 8,500 U.S. troops are on heightened alert. They are prepared to help NATO forces should Russia invade Ukraine. But let's get down to the root of this. Why does Russia want to invade Ukraine?
Yeah, great. It's a great question, Jenny. Good morning to you. You know, what we've seen for weeks now is Russia menacing Ukraine with this massive troop buildup. According to Ukrainian officials, there are now about 127,000 troops between land, sea, and air around Ukraine's borders. And, whether or not this is about Vladimir Putin bluffing or preparing for an invasion, I think is still an open question. The Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, said last night that it's still something that they do not know. They have not been able to figure out whether or not Putin has made a decision here. But this goes back to something that he has talked publicly about for years. He has really lamented the end of the Soviet Union, and he has called for, a resurgence in Russia's sphere of influence in this part of the world. And if you look at what he's done in recent weeks, it's really about reestablishing that. We saw how quickly he deployed forces into Kazakhstan when there were mass protests there earlier this year. We've seen his actions to try to annex parts of Georgia, to station troops and equipment in Moldova. And in Ukraine for 8 years now, he has led, separatist forces in the eastern provinces. He annexed the peninsula Crimea 8 years ago. And so this appears to be about his desire to really destabilize Ukraine, to undermine his neighbor, as it has tried to, turn to the West, to turn towards the European Union, and turn towards democracy and a free open market, things that would really threaten Putin's rule in Russia in a way, because those are the same freedoms that his own citizens are not allowed to enjoy. He has spoken as well about this idea in his mind that Ukraine as a country doesn't have a right to exist. He published a 5,000-word essay last July on the topic. And given everything else going on in the world and in Russia, you think he really doesn't have time to be writing essays, but he did just that because this is something I think he believes in his core, that the country we know as Ukraine is actually a part of Russian territory. And so perhaps this is about him readying an invasion and moving forces across the border to establish that control. Perhaps it's just about strengthening his hand in negotiations with the West, or ultimately it may just be about destabilizing Ukraine, undermining its government, and maintaining Russian influence in the country.
But why now? If he's been planning this for years, what was it that tipped him off to say, okay, now let's finally put the troops at the border?
Yeah, it's a great question, too. And last spring we saw something similar. We saw a build-up that really, worried U.S. officials. It's actually what led to that summit between President Biden and Vladimir Putin last June. But then they drew back. And I think, the why now it's been difficult to assess, in part because there are different assessments. I think the European allies, France and Germany in particular, again, they believe that Vladimir Putin is just bluffing. The Americans and the Brits have been much more alarmist, much more worried that the threat of an invasion is actually imminent. And I think there are a few different chess pieces here that Vladimir Putin is playing with. France is about to head into presidential elections in the coming weeks. Germany has a brand new government that has to be tested after, so many years of Angela Merkel in power. The UK, Prime Minister Boris Johnson, is embattled by scandal and could perhaps lose his premiership soon. And President Biden has, in some ways, tried to turn inward, to focus his administration on domestic renewal and things like voting rights and infrastructure. And so perhaps all of these different allies were more scattered, we believe, and it presented an opportunity. One other thing to consider here, last year Putin began this brand new term of his presidential tenure, and it's one that will allow him to remain in power for years to come, well into his 80s. At 69 now, perhaps he is looking ahead to his legacy, knowing that he has X number of years left on this planet, and you could be rest assured that during those years he will remain in power in Russia. And so maybe this just felt like the right time, the right moment to really move against Ukraine. Or perhaps he just thought that, with these different scattered Western views, that he could at least extract some demand from the Europeans and the U.S., given their own domestic focus.
Okay, now let's look at what the U.S. and its NATO allies can actually do to potentially stop Russia from invading Ukraine. First first of all, I would think that we all need to be on the same page. And that was in question last week after that news conference from President Biden. In some of the comments that he made, a lot of reporters were saying, wait a minute, are we all on the same page? Do we all believe in the same punishment for the same crimes kind of thing? And now the president is saying, yes, in fact, we are all on the same page. But then what's the next step?
Yeah, I mean, they've really tried to paper over what the president said. In one way, he admitted what we all knew all along, that there is divergence among NATO allies about what is the best most effective response here. You know, you've got countries like Germany, which are very reticent to sell arms to Ukraine. You've got the U.S. announcing a shipment, last Friday was before video cameras, a new tranche of $200 million in security assistance. And so I think the president was actually right, as much as his officials have since then tried to clean it up and paper over and say that everyone is united here. They laid out a few things that we should take through. First, there is this continued security assistance to the Ukrainian military to strengthen their defense in the event of a Russian invasion. That's something that Ukraine has asked for repeatedly over the last few years. Second, as we started, there's this announcement from the Pentagon that there will be 8,500 troops put on high alert in the event that NATO calls for a response force to really reinforce those Eastern European allies like Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia, who are all near Ukraine and could be sort of the next domino if Putin were to continue onward. Importantly, those troops are not going to Ukraine. They never will, because Ukraine is not a part of the alliance. And so it does leave Ukraine vulnerable in a way, because Putin knows that the U.S. will not deploy forces in order to protect it. President Biden drew that red line a few months ago, and ultimately, kind of leaves Ukraine hanging away. But they've tried to take these other steps, including military assistance, including the NATO deployment. And now, as well, they've threatened massive economic consequences. The State Department told us yesterday that they would be unprecedented in terms of the economic sanctions they would impose on Russia. They've floated certain things in leaks to the press, including, blocking semiconductors and chips heading to Russia to really dry up their supply and affect the Russian population, their ability to use cell phones and laptops, things that I think would tighten the economic stranglehold on the Kremlin and its inner circle, and really impose massive consequences in a way that we have not seen in 8 years of conflict. They say all of this is about defense and deterrence, that these steps are meant to de-escalate by letting Russia know that the very things it opposes, including, troops in Eastern NATO countries, are the very things that they will see if they take action against Ukraine.
Connor, that is the best explanation of what is going on I have heard from a reporter in weeks. I can't thank you enough for that.
Thanks, Jennifer. I appreciate it.
Have a good one. See you later. We'll get you back on
You
soon.
too.
Thanks. That is ABC's Connor Finnegan. That makes so much sense. Even though we can't figure out exactly why Putin is doing this exactly right now, if you kind of read the tea leaves like Connor was, and you add A plus B equals C together, that finally makes sense. By the way, while we're monitoring Russia, also, North Korea has continued to shoot missiles into the air. South Korea says its northern neighbor has test-fired 2 cruise missiles. It's the 5th round of missile launches this month, and North Korea has increased its testing activity recently in an apparent effort to pressure the Biden administration over stalled nuclear diplomacy. When we come back, we'll talk with ABC's Jim Ryan. Here's a side effect of the pandemic. I know we've talked about things like depression being a side effect, domestic violence going up, eating disorders going up. The latest problem? Gambling. That's next with Jim. Right now, Nick's checking out the 91.
It's a wreck for your drive this go around on the westbound side as you're making way to the 241 toll road. 4 cars involved, and it's the 2 left lanes that are taken away. So first thing this morning, you're going to see delays heading westbound along the 91 from Green River as you make way toward the 241 toll road. Even patchy before that now, getting out of the Riverside area from as far back as Magnolia. Got an update on this problem or anything else slowing you down? Pound 250 on your cell phone. Keyword is KFI traffic. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Nick Poliokini.
Hey all, it's Dean Sharp. Are you looking to sell your home in 2022? Well, congratulations. That is a big deal. For most of us, it's the biggest deal of all. So let's make sure you get everything out of it that you can, yeah? Before you get ready to list, make sure you call the good folks at Revive. Revive's business is to maximize your home's sale value. How? By guiding you through market-critical upgrades before you sell. It's like flipping your own home, except Revive fronts the cost and guarantees results. Yes, you heard that right. No money out of pocket and a higher selling price guaranteed. You can list higher and sell faster in just a few short weeks. In fact, the average homeowner sees $160K in additional profit. This is a no-brainer. Revive has created an easy, stress-free way to maximize your greatest asset, your home. So, are you thinking about selling? Then before you do anything, chat with an advisor at Revive. To get started, go to iloverevive.com. That's iloverevive.com.
This report is sponsored by Owen Patterson & Owen.
I'm Susan Owen, managing partner at Owen Patterson & Owen. When you are in an accident, you don't know what the future holds for you physically, emotionally, financially. If you've been injured, call Owen Patterson & Owen, 888-OPO-WIN. And we do, OPOLaw.com.
This is three-time Pro Bowler Sean Merriman. Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network.
Presented by Indeed.com.
Anthony Davis is nearing his return to the Lakers. Davis was upgraded to probable for tonight's game against the Nets. Tickets for Sunday's Rams-49ers NFC title game have sold out. According to the team, the Rams season ticket holders bought every seat in SoFi Stadium. And at least 8 people are dead after a stampede at an African Cup of Nations soccer match. The tragedy occurred when fans rushed into the stadium. I'm Misty Jordan.
Need new hires in the new year? You need Indeed to help you find your next hire. When you sponsor a post, you get a list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credits.
Embark on a deep dive into the case of the infamous Green River Killer on the Shadow Girls podcast. Join Carolyn Osorio as she re-examines the 20-year investigation of the brutal slayings of 49 young women, uncovering never-before-heard audio and a long-buried secret.
Imagine you're this young girl and you're on the street, a guy come up, you jump in, you drive off, you disappear into the night.
Listen to the Shadow Girls on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, it's Gary and Shannon, and we are super excited. The Super Bowl is headed to L.A., and you got to join us at the Super Bowl Experience presented by Lowe's.
Yeah, this is the NFL's interactive football theme park. It's going to come to L.A. for Super Bowl 56. It all starts Saturday, February 5th at the L.A. Convention Center.
We're talking player autographs, the Vince Lombardi Trophy, interactive games, youth football clinics, and the NFL Shop presented by Visa.
Tickets start at $20. Kids 12 and under can attend free every day. Get your tickets at Ticketmaster or NFL.com/SBX on sale or download the NFL One Pass in the App Store.
Rob tried to manage his constipation with belly pain, discomfort, and bloating day after day. After realizing it was irritable bowel syndrome with constipation or IBS-C, he found another way and finally said yes to adding Linzess.
Linzess, or linaclotide, is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. Linzess works differently than laxatives. It lets you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2 years old. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. There could be more to your story with IBS-C. Talk to a doctor today. Say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS. Sponsored by Abbey and Ironwood Pharmaceuticals.
So I ordered our couch in August. It's not going to be here till April.
That's the wait. It's killing us. We're on the same boat. Listen, people despise waiting. That's why they have turned to SolarMax when they go solar.
That's right. No supply chain wait because SolarMax is right here in Southern California.
Getting solar is not instant, but it is a whole lot faster with SolarMax because they have the vision to stock up. Plus, everything's assembled locally. No middleman.
Now is the best time to get solar because you get more electrical production in the spring.
Plus, SolarMax has the newest Tesla products like the Tesla 420 watt panels, the most powerful solar panels on the market right now.
And they're continuing their offer through January 31st.
Get this. You pay $0 down for the Tesla package and $79.96 a month with a 1.99% APR.
Listen, if you despise waiting like we do, call SolarMax. Sign up for solar now and save big by spring.
Dial pound 250 from your cell, say the keyword SolarMax, pound 250 SolarMax, or go to solarmaxtech.com. Monthly payment available on approved credit. CSLB number 972040.
People really want to live like this? No, I don't think so, but when are they going to do something about it? Exactly.
All you have to do is vote in different people, and then you don't have to live like this.
Take Bonin out of office, you can remove Gascon, elect a mayor that will actually do something about issues like crime and homelessness.
John and Ken, weekdays at 2.
Shut up about stuff that doesn't affect my day-to-day life.
On KFI.
KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Welcome to your wake-up call. I'm Jennifer Jones-Lee, and some of the stories we're watching in the KFI 24-hour newsroom. Some state prison repeat offenders who are locked up for nonviolent crimes can get early release for up to 2/3 of their sentence. A judge had blocked the program because 28 county DAs argued violent offenders would be out, but the same judge Thursday disputed the DA's claim that they represent crime victims. She says DAs represent the public at large, so they have no legal standing to object. Corrections officials say the program incentivizes good behavior. Also, we're keeping an eye on Pfizer and BioNTech this morning. The two have launched a clinical trial. They say will evaluate a vaccine that targets the COVID-19 Omicron variant. There's growing concern the current vaccine doesn't hold up against this strain of COVID discovered just 2 months ago. The CDC published a study last week that says protection from current booster shots tapers off after about 10 weeks. 5:35, I know we've talked about job fairs before, specifically focused on the military and their spouses, but we haven't talked about one during the Great Resignation. So what I'm curious about is, might job seekers be more than just people, say, returning from service, looking for a gig, to this time around, veterans who are looking for a complete career shift? And this advice would go to anybody who is looking for a career shift. So we'll talk with Recruit Military Senior Vice President Chris Stevens in just a few minutes. Right now, let's say hello to ABC's Jim Ryan. Jim, here's yet one more side effect of the pandemic, problem gambling.
Yep, and it's a growing problem. It's reflected in some of the numbers to centers that deal with this, the help lines that have been operated for people who have gambling issues or feel they might have a problem. One of those has seen a 5,000 telephone call increase every single month. The National Council on Problem Gambling, it says that the risk of issues or gambling issues has doubled since the year 2018. And get these numbers. Through November of 2021, last year, the helpline was getting 238,600 calls a year. That's an average of 21,700 per month, right? Okay, so nearly 22,000 calls per month from people who think they might have a problem. That went up from only 16,000 the year before. So you can see a dramatic increase in calls from people who feel they might have a problem. And increasingly, these calls are coming from younger people, Jen.
And I'm wondering, is it because we were all sitting at home and we had nothing else to do, and so we started, trying things maybe we hadn't before?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not as though you now have to drive to a casino to gamble, right?
Yeah.
You can do so on your phone. There are phone apps. You can do so online. Yet every state, or a lot of states at least, seem to be expanding the opportunities for people to gamble. California, of course, as you know, has 4 different initiatives on the ballot in November this year related to sports gambling. So, yeah, it's an issue that's spreading across the country. Gambling is growing in acceptance, but it's also, according to professionals, rehab professionals, growing in problem.
Does it seem like it's specifically sports betting that people are doing, or are they doing the online gambling like, hey, I'm going to play a card game or whatever?
It's all of it. It's online card games, it's online roulette, it's online, it's telephone apps that are slot machines. You have a bank account there, and you lose, you win, you see your amount grow, you see your amount sink, but you never really see the money. And that's part of the problem here. It's not as though you have to lay out, actual dollar bills and collect actual dollar bills or lose dollar bills. It's just it's a nebulous number that's there on your phone app, and that may be part of the problem. People just don't recognize that there is a lot more going on than you might realize.
All right, and if people are listening right now and they're thinking, okay, I do need to get some help. Hey, that's me. I'm part of this crowd. And actually, for a lot of people, it's nice to hear I'm not the only one who got sucked into this. I'm not the only one who's dealing with this. Where can they call?
Right, yeah. Well, the National Council on Problem Gambling, I'm not going to use the phone number, but the National Council on Problem Gambling is a place. There are also plenty of local resources in California, all across the state there. The troubling part of the whole thing, Jen, is that researchers into the issue say that only about 1 in 10 people who have an actual gambling problem reach out for help. So, but there are resources, plenty of resources available.
Yeah, and it's hard. I mean, you talk to so many people with addictions, and the worst part of it is it's hard for you to recognize that you have a problem, or to know that, hey, I do have a problem. Maybe you can recognize that, but the idea of having to admit it to people is just, it's too much.
Yeah, and whereas with other addictions, you wrecked your car because you were driving drunk. That's a pretty good wake-up call. You overdose because you are addicted to drugs. That's an issue. With gambling, you get onto a hot streak and start winning and winning and winning, and then suddenly you lose and you're deep in debt. Yeah. That wake-up call doesn't come until sometime down the road, and you're already in deep financial trouble.
Exactly. All right, Jim, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Jim.
See ya. That's ABC's Jim Ryan. And don't feel like I said, that you're not the only one. You just heard Jim say 231,000 calls. I mean, that's huge. So you're definitely not alone if you were in this boat. Don't be afraid to reach out for help. I mean, all that your life can do is get better, right? But I know it's, when you are ready, then you will reach out for help. But just know that when you are, there's people out there to help support you. Let's get back to some of these stories coming out of the KFI 24-hour newsroom. A former top executive with the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power is expected to plead guilty to a federal bribery charge. David Wright has admitted in a plea agreement that he accepted kickbacks and was involved in corrupt schemes while heading the city-owned utility. LA County supervisors say in the last few days, 6 fake COVID-19 testing sites have been shut down in Southgate and Bell Gardens.
And the reason that we know they're fraudulent is because, number one, they're charging people for tests, and we know that tests should be free. Number two, they're making people disclose their social security number.
Supervisor Jana Khan says people should check the county's webpage for authorized testing sites. 2 more sites have opened in her district, one at the LA County Library in Linwood, the other at the LA County Library in Pico Rivera. The 6 men, including one from SoCal, have been charged with plotting to smuggle assault weapons and massive amounts of ammo to one of the most dangerous cartels in Mexico. The U.S. Attorney's Office says a man from Whittier led a criminal ring that bought the weapons, gun parts, and ammo from Oregon, Nevada, and other states with drug money. 3 of the men have pleaded not guilty. A special grand jury will try and find out if former President Trump broke the law by pressuring Georgia election officials to swing the 2020 election in his favor.
The investigation includes looking at a phone call by Trump during which he told state elections officials he wants to find 11,000 votes. And that,
I think you have to say that you're going to re-examine it.
Audio there from the Washington Post.
That's ABC's Mark Remillard, who says the special grand jury won't return indictments, but can make recommendations to prosecutors. And speaking of things that a president has said, did you hear President Biden? Well, he got caught on a hot mic yesterday. Let's put it that way. So President Biden called a Fox News reporter, Peter Ducey, a stupid son of a on a live mic. So I guess Ducey had just asked him, this was after he was doing a news conference about inflation. And Ducey shouted, will you take questions about inflation? Do you think inflation is a political liability ahead of the midterms? Biden thought his microphone was turned off and kind of sarcastically said, no, that's a great asset. More inflation. What a stupid son of a... So, Ducey, I guess, just sort of smiling and played along and, kind of joked about it. And apparently, reports are that the president called Peter Ducey last night and said something to the effect of, it's nothing personal, pal. But Ducey needles Biden all the time in those news conferences. If you know which reporter he is, you know that he's a Fox News reporter. Of course he's going to go after Biden hard and come up with questions that are going to be uncomfortable and that kind of thing. But the fact that Biden's mic was on, it reminds me of when he was vice president under President Obama, and he talked about the big effing deal. Do you remember that? So it's not the first time that Biden has gotten caught with a hot mic, but kind of funny nonetheless. All right, when we come back, we will talk about job fairs specifically focused on the military and their spouses, but the information that's going to come out of this is for all of you because we're talking about the Great Resignation, and might job seekers be more than just people returning from service for a gig, but this time around, veterans looking for a complete career shift, and you looking for a complete career shift. We'll find out what's out there. Speaking of that, we'll see what's up on your drive, and Nick's checking out the 91.
Back to the 91 we go, Jen. Westbound side getting to the Yogalinda and Anaheim Hills area. Just before the 241, 91 westbound. With your crash, 4 cars involved. 2 left lanes are shut down, and that's why you're seeing a rough go for the drive first thing this morning out of Riverside from the Sawdust at Lafayette. Got an update on this problem or anything else slowing you down. Pound 250 on your cell phone. Keyword is KFI traffic. Westbound side of the 60 as you head through the Ontario area. Seeing a few delays for you off the 15 as you make your way toward Archibald for the westbound on the 60. Pretty much a wide open drive into Diamond Bar to the 57, although 57 southbound going to be slow going for you off the 60 as you make your way through the Brea Canyon area for Brea Canyon Road. KFI in the Sky helps get you there faster. I'm Nick O'Keefe.
If you own a business and manage to keep 5 or more people on the payroll through the pandemic, there's a new government program that will pay you tens of thousands of dollars per employee. And this is not a loan. This is a grant. The challenge is getting your hands on this money. This is a bureaucracy. InnovationRefunds.com cuts through the red tape, helps you get the cash. They do all of the legwork. They don't charge a penny until you receive the money. And what they do is simply share a percentage of the money they get for you. They got my business a 6-figure refund. Now, their average client gets $250,000. That's impressive. Go to InnovationRefunds.com, click on the Qualify Me button, answer a few questions. InnovationRefunds.com. It's no risk, and it certainly is high reward. InnovationRefunds.com. They help me. I'm sure they can help you. InnovationRefunds.com.
SoCal weather from KFI. Partly cloudy this morning, then mostly sunny later in the day. Highs will be in the low 60s to the low 70s. Now, we do have another Santa Ana event coming in this afternoon. So our wind advisory kicks in around 4 this afternoon and lasts until 10 tomorrow morning. We read local, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. I'm Jennifer Jones-Lee.
Stimulant use disorder is a disease, not a choice. But getting help with your meth or cocaine addiction is. Choose treatment and choose change, California. Find proven treatment options at choosechangeca.org.
Regrow your own natural hair with the same simple one-day treatment that I received from Advanced Hair Restoration. Get a free consultation, $250 off, and 250 free hair grafts by calling 844-333-HAIR or advancedhair.com.
If you are still lugging those heavy salt bags around, or you're running around the house changing filters and multiple sources, I can help you stop all of that. What if I told you you could turn on any tap in your house and have filtered, great-tasting water flowing from every faucet? You could if you have a LifeSource whole house water system. So they connect directly to your plumbing, and the system will filter out all harsh chemicals and reduce hard water problems, and eliminate the cost and hassle of buying bottled water. I hated that, going to the store and lugging around those big cases. You'll taste the difference when you drink and cook with clean, refreshing water, and your skin and your hair are going to feel the difference when you shower without drying chemicals like chlorine. And the best part, no maintenance of any kind, no filters to change, no salt to add, just enjoy quality water for over 10 years. Right now, LifeSource is offering a free water consultation and free installation. So call to speak with their professional service team with no middleman. With LifeSource Water, you get factory direct service, installation, and expertise. Call LifeSource today at 800-334-5009, 800-334-5009, or visit LifeSourceWater.com. LifeSource Water, taste and feels the difference.
As parents, we've done everything we can to keep our kids safe, happy, and healthy during this pandemic. From finding the best face mask to making sure their hands are clean. And now we have the best tool to help keep them even safer. The most important thing we can do is vaccinate our kids to protect them against COVID-19. Vaccines have been proven safe and effective for children 5 and up. Talk to your child's doctor or visit myturn.ca.gov to find a vaccine near you. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
American Vision Windows, SoCal's choice for energy-efficient windows and doors. AmericanVisionWindows.com.
your wake-up call. I'm Jennifer Jones-Lee. Some of the stories we're keeping an eye on in the KFI 24-hour newsroom. The CDC has added 5 popular Caribbean destinations to its high-risk category for COVID-19. The Dominican Republic, Guadalupe, Jamaica, St. Bartholomew, and St. Martin were added yesterday. Haiti already was at a level 4. The LA City Council and the LA County Board of Supervisors are expected to approve $60,000 in reward money to find the person who shot and killed a 16-year-old girl. The body of Keone Theus was found dumped along the side of Harbor Boulevard or Harbor Freeway in South LA on January 8th. And the Pentagon has placed as many as 8,500 U.S. troops on heightened alert because of the threat of a Russian invasion of Ukraine. A Pentagon spokesman says the bulk of those troops are ready to help NATO's quick response force. Well, speaking of our troops, let's talk with Recruit Military Senior Vice President Chris Stevens about this new job fair that's happening. Chris, good morning.
Good morning, Jennifer. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Now, I know I've talked about job fairs before, specifically military ones, and this one, though, is different because I haven't talked about a job fair during the Great Resignation, and I would think that this is going to put veterans maybe who, I don't know, say they were policemen before they went in, and then they went into the military, they did their service, they come out and they think, I don't want to do that anymore. This is a job shift along with looking for a job.
Absolutely. You know, today from 11 to 3 Pacific time, we're having our Southwest Region Virtual Career Fair. And what's great about that is we might have, I'm here in Virginia Beach, we might have people here that are from the LA area or anywhere in the Southwest that want to get out there, but they can't attend a physical event. And we typically hold those at SoFi Stadium. But for this Southwest region, they're able to plug in right from their laptop and their computer right here, wherever they might be in the world, and start talking to clients today in that virtual career fair. So it's an awesome, awesome opportunity for not only our military veterans, but for obviously for the companies that are attending today's event.
Absolutely, and this gives people just a larger reach. Because I think the one thing, too, that we don't think about when we're switching careers or, thinking about getting another job is maybe we want to relocate, especially with prices the way they are in California. You've got a lot of people thinking, I don't know if I want to stay here anymore.
That's absolutely correct. We do, I was in Tampa last week. Next week I'll be in Atlanta. We're going to be in Dallas at AT&T Stadium. So, we do about 80 physical events and about 22 actually virtual career fairs. So it's real simple. All military veterans have to do is just hit our website, one word, Recruit Military. So once again, one word, Recruit Military, and they'll have a whole list of any one of our virtual career fairs and our physical career fairs as well.
Have you noticed an uptick in the number of veterans who have said, not just the ones who have just come back from, say, a deployment or something like that, or not just the ones who just got out, but the ones who have said, hey, it's time for me to shift gears, I want to do something different with my life?
That's right. There's a term in the might have been a military veteran that got out a year or two ago, and they're, maybe what we call underemployed. Maybe they went for their first job, and they're like, I have more training and leadership. So let me check some of those other opportunities. So, as they say, there's no better time to find a job than when you have one, right? So, yeah, absolutely, we're seeing a big shift in that.
I know that back in the day, it was the trying to make sure that your military resume translated into the civilian world was a big problem. But I would say that my husband experienced that when he got out. And I know that has changed and things have gotten better, but is that still a problem?
Not really. We're to your point, we're adamant about helping those military veterans translate those skills. At recruitmilitary.com, there's a resource center specifically for candidates where we can help them rebuild their whole resume, get a lot of those acronyms out of there, and make it speak to the general public. So all they got to do is just go once again to recruitmilitary.com. There's a resource center there. There's examples of resumes. There's a resume builder in there, so it makes it very, very easy to help with that for those transitioning military members.
Awesome, and those people will have a chance to do that right now if they are listening, because this career fair is from today from 11 until 3. All they have to do is go to Recruit Military, and the information is there. Chris, thank you so much for your time.
sir.
Jennifer, thank you for having me today, and thank you for the support for not only our military veterans, but the companies that are looking to hire those veterans. Thank you, and have a fantastic day.
Hey, you too, and thank you for your service.
Hey,
Thank you, man. Have a great day.
Bye.